Jai Hind बच्चों. Today we'll do one more topic of chapter 6 of class 10th, that is transport of food and other substances. Right? So like we are familiar with the structure of a plant. So basic structure of a plant is like they have roots, stem and leaves. Okay? And we know that these leaves, they are main area where the photosynthesis takes place. Right? So whatever the product of photosynthesis, which is here in leaves, has to be transported to different parts of the plant, because they other parts of the plants like roots, stem, fruit, growing tips, and they need these photosynthetic product for why they need for energy, right? So the synthesis of these products are mainly in this area, so has to be transported to different paths. So this transport of photosynthetic product from leaves to different parts, or we can say the transport of these photosynthetic product, is called translocation. So mainly the term used for this transportation of product of photosynthesis is translocation. On where it happens and or how it happens through the vascular tissue called phloem. Okay? And we have studied the structure of phloem in our previous videos. So how this translocation takes place, that we have to study here. Okay? So if we recall our structure of phloem, that we know that there are sieve tubes are present in phloem, companion cells are there, phloem fiber. So these sieve tubes, they form a continuous channel, right? So if we draw a rough sketch of this phloem, so these are sieve tubes, they are connected, and at the side there are companion cells. So this is the rough sketch you can draw in your exams also, right? And near to it's a xylem, where the flowing water transports through this xylem. So basically there is hardly any distance between xylem and phloem. You will study more about vascular bundle in your higher classes. So how this xylem and phloem, they are arranged in roots and stems and also veins of the leaves, right? So they are not far off, they are nearby only. So in phloem we have sieve tubes, they are connected and form a continuous channel, and we have companion cells. Clear? And these sieve tubes and companion cells, they help in this transport of photosynthetic products. And this transport, it happens in both the direction, means in upward direction as well as downward direction, like from leaves to roots, from leaves to growing parts, in the both direction, in upward and downward direction, in both the direction. And how it happens, we'll see that. But at one time it is only in one direction. It is not that at same time it is flowing in both the direction. At one time it flows in one direction, but it can flow in upward or downward. See, both the direction. And for that energy is required. And how it happens, let's study that. So like if we see, this is, if we draw this as a leaf, that we call the source. Source means here the synthesis of photosynthesis takes place, photosynthetic products takes place. So in these leaves, photosynthetic products are there. So this is the source cell. From here, this photosynthetic product has to transport to, suppose, roots. So that root cell are the sink one. So now I hope it's clear the difference between source and sink. Yeah. So from source, this photosynthetic product, or you can say sucrose, it moves to companion cell. These are companion cells. And it happens by means of active transport. Means energy is required to transport photosynthetic product from source to companion cells. Clear? Now, what happens then? From here it transport to the sieve tubes. Clear? And through the expense of energy only this happens. We need energy that is supplied by ATP. Right? And because of this, there is a high concentration of sugar in sieve tubes, which create a hypertonic condition in phloem. Right? So water from xylem. So water from xylem vessels, which is adjacent to the phloem, it moves into these sieve tubes. Okay? Because of this high concentration of sugar in the sieve tubes. Right? And what happened then? There is an increase in pressure. That is called the osmotic pressure. Yeah? Which caused this movement of this. We call them a phloem sap. So this phloem sap, that is sucrose, that move from high osmotic pressure to area of low osmotic pressure. Yeah? This way the sucrose move in sieve tubes. Now again, when it reaches to the sink cell where it is required, and sink cell can be root, can be stem, can be fruit, can be seed, can be growing tip. Right? So here this sink cell, from the sieve tubes, the sucrose move to sink cell, from sieve tube to companion cell, then to sink cell, and this happens with the expense of energy. Energy is required to transport. So I hope this transport is clear, how it is. The sucrose is moving from source to sink. Right? So we'll just do a quick recap of this. Like from leaf, sucrose move into the companion cells and then into sieve tube cells by active transport. Clear? This create a hypertonic condition in the phloem, right? And the water in the xylem vessel, which is adjacent to the phloem, moves into sieve tube, right? And this lead to increase in osmotic pressure, which cause movement of phloem sap from high osmotic pressure to the area of low osmotic pressure. So again at sink, this active transport moves sugar out of the phloem. So I hope this is clear to you, how the sugar which is moved from source to sink. Okay? And now one more thing is there, ki during spring or early spring, what happens when all leaves they shed? Now no leaves are there. So no photosynthesis means, right? So again when the leaves they start coming at the end of the spring season, what happens then? Then for the formation of these leaves, again the food is required. So what happens during that time? So if we see here, if there are no leaves, all leaves are shed, then the food, again when the leaves they started coming out, for that what food is required, or means they need, that area need energy. So from where that food comes then now? Because leaves, they are not synthesizing any food now, no photosynthesis happening. So food which is stored in fruits, stored in roots or in stem, it moves to these growing areas or area where the leaves they start appearing. Clear? So at that time, these fruits, roots, stem, they are the source, right? And from these sources, the sugar or sucrose moves to the leaves part. Now flow is in opposite direction. Right? So when there are leaves, that time what happens? The sucrose move from leaves to stem, to roots, to fruits. And when there are no leaves, then at that time the flow of sugar, and when the leaves they start appearing, that time they need energy. So that time the sucrose moves from the fruits, from seeds, from stem, from roots to the area where the leaves they are appearing. Yeah. So that time source is this fruit is a source then, or root is a source, stem is a source, and sink is these leaves areas are sink area. Right? So that time it moves in opposite direction. So this is the way we can say the bi-directional flow of food occur in phloem. So it moves from from leaves to different parts of the plant, or from different part of the plants to leaves. So this is where the bidirectional flow of food occurs in phloem. So I hope this transport of food in plants is clear to you all. So we'll do more of this chapter in next video. So I hope this video is clear to you, or the topic is clear to you. So thank you so much, students.